What is up, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to this week's episode 63 of the STS Guys. I am Jeremy.
Hey, it's Larry.
Hey guys, it's Nate.
And I'm Scott.
And we are the STS Guys, a weekly podcast where we sit around, shoot the shit, and talk about anything geeky, nerdy, and cool. What is going on this week, guys?
As is tradition, it's been a busy week.
It's been a busy week. Busy couple weeks, right?
Yeah. We missed recording last week because of holiday parties.
Yay! Gotta love Christmas parties in December. I guess to be honest, I say that now. I realize I'm like, because they're due them in January.
I love the ones in July even more, actually.
Yeah, totally overrated in July.
Yeah, those July Christmas parties. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I'll admit it.
God, come on! I'm like really? those darn
in December.
This is the best month for them.
Yeah, this is the only month you should have them.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, with one of my previous jobs, their Christmas party is actually in January. So to Scott's credit, like I said, they do have sometimes Christmas parties in January.
Thank you for trying to defend me on my idiot comment, but no, it doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
Let's just call it a holiday party. That kind of works.
Yeah, I try. I said Scott, I try.
I appreciate the effort, but let me fail at this point.
All right. So before we get too much further, let's go ahead and just kind of let us know what we do. So we are the weekly podcast. We record our podcast live on YouTube weekly. We have people in the chat today. So today we have Nerdsmithing. What's going on? What's going on, Andy?
Hey, Andy.
What's up, Nerdsmithing?
How's it going?
If you are listening to one of our audio versions, definitely feel free to jump on a live stream sometime. So we'd love to have you interacting in chat, but we appreciate our audio listeners as well. Special shout out to two very special audio listeners all the way over in the UK, Shelly and Gareth.
What's going on?
Hello, Shelly and Gareth.
All right. And we have
Judge Jack in here too.
As well. All right. So before we get too much started.
We're already started. How do you get too started? This is gonna be fun.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like, wait, how do you get too started? Is there like at what moment are you too much started?
Same way you have parties in December.
Now we're more started.
All right, everyone, just know we are more started.
We're
not too started yet, but we're more started.
So I got robbed. Like, ooh, look at that.
It is very barren in there. Nerdsmithing noticed too.
Yeah, it is very barren in here, and so there's a lot of stuff going on.
You have a pile of boxes. Like you got those nice Home Depot boxes behind you, and that's about it, dude. What's going on?
What is happening, Jeremy?
I am in the middle. I am actually going to be moving out of state. So
no.
How will we do our podcast?
The same way we do it.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's not like we do this over the internet or anything.
Yeah, it's funny because like I said, the couple people that I've told, they're like, "Oh, well, what about the podcast?" I'm like, "What about the podcast?"
We live stream.
We're sitting in our own houses.
Right.
It's we're not together. Like I said, means we'll be further apart. It'll just make for more interesting episodes. I have a feeling. So instead of basically having pre-episode conversations, you said in a similar environment. Now, so we have new adventures to tell.
We literally talk almost all day, all week. So having a break. I mean, there's good stories that we don't share on the podcast because they just happen as we're living it. So now me, Nate, and Scott can fill in Jeremy about our crazy week, and it'll be fresh and new. So hopefully it means just kind of rejuvenated podcast rather than the death of the STS guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is not the death of the STS guys. There's a lot of different things that are going to be beneficial to this. So specifically moving to Austin, Texas, and so around there, like I said, we have different conventions. So we have MondoCon coming up, which is it's just going to give us an opportunity to cover that many more conventions too. So like I said, we'll have a lot more news coming to you just because like I said we'll be in separate states.
In the podcast community in Texas is pretty awesome too, right? You got 3 Beers and a Mic, you got Mulehorn Gaming, you got nerd foo. So hopefully we can make some new friends and grow our little podcast community even more in person this time rather than just on Twitter.
What?
And you have Comic Palooza, like I said, in Houston. I said a couple hours away.
Fan Expo Dallas. Like the Texas con scene is pretty awesome. So you got all those cities like Houston, Dallas, Austin, all pretty close together. So it should be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm looking forward to the move. The only thing I'm not looking forward to move was, like I said, taking all this down has been a pain in the ass.
Yeah. You had a lot of stuff, man. I can imagine.
And it's still not anywhere near being done. It's nuts.
Does it kind of make you reevaluate your life when you're packing it up? Because it's like I've been slowly moving for like a year now, and like every time I've had another pop sitting around somewhere. It's like, my God, how many boxes of pops am I gonna have?
Well, let's just put it this way. So these, like I said, as you can see, like I said, if you can see the scale of these boxes, so
those are the extra large Home Depot boxes.
Yeah, right there is the Captain America shield, the full size Captain America.
Yeah.
So you can tell, like, scale reference. All of there's six of them right there, are full of pops. That's not the only 6 boxes that are full of pops. So there's another few boxes that are right over here on the corner that have some pops in too, that are these same size boxes. So there's a lot of pops that have been packed, and so I've been slowly going through the collection and actually kind of going through, and are just like, what, I should probably let some of these go, and these are the ones I'm going to keep. So if anything, it's kind of served that function as well of the great purge.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity to reevaluate some things.
Absolutely.
Right. Nothing is worse than, like, it's really fun to build a collection, but nothing is worse than moving a collection.
Yeah. It was been nuts. So you guys remember, like I said, normally I have my giant comic wall behind me.
Yeah.
Taking that down was such a pain in the ass. Like
Nuts.
You can't see it, but there are so many holes in this goddamn wall right here right now. I'm like, why did I do this? So I'm like, I had to fix this wall now. Like, there's so many holes in this wall.
Gonna have to go get that liquid nails.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that's rough.
A side note, other than my cross country move news this week, I said I did get probably one of the coolest packages in the world. And so I want to give a special shout out to Andy from Nerdsmithing for this awesome package I got. So you guys want to see what I got?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
I really want to see this.
We always like stuff.
So as you know, like I said, if you follow Andy on some of his Instagrams and stuff, said he's really big into 3D printing. And so he sent me, look at this. He said,
What?
That's amazing.
Glow in the dark Funko Sign. Like I said,
wow,
it's amazing.
That's really cool.
I know you're jealous.
It's pretty rad, dude.
Well, it's a good thing that he also included a second one.
Oh, dang.
It's awesome. Thank you, Andy.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah,
dude, that is really cool, actually.
I will find a really awesome place to put that for sure.
Yeah, that is going to be awesome in your collection, Larry. So that's awesome. So
very cool.
Thank you, Andy. I said we definitely appreciate it. Like I said, it was completely awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks,
that's a thoughtful gift, man.
Yeah. So if you're not already subbed up to Nerdsmithing on YouTube, just type in Nerdsmithing, exactly like it sounds. Andy's on Instagram at Nerdsmithing. Again, exactly like it sounds. He lives right by HQ. He gets some awesome stuff, takes some awesome photos, makes some awesome videos. So great guy. Definitely go sub him up. Give him a follow on the IG too.
Also, it's like, congratulations, Andy, for just passing 1,000 subs on YouTube as well. So.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Congrats,
man.
No, like I said, I checked out so I wish I could like do the glow right now and actually show everybody. That glow on there is ridiculous, Andy. Like it's nuts. So I'm so excited to have that on my shelf.
It's super cool. Those are 3D printed too. I mean,
yeah,
it's a unique gift for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I will safely pack that up, and that'll definitely accompany me by
right.
The Texas.
Big congrats to Jeremy. You know, we're always sad, to hear one of our guys is going to be departing, but he got a great opportunity and we're really happy for him. And we'll definitely keep the podcast going, and it's going to open up new adventures. So I'm almost excited, but I'm also sad at the same time.
Yeah, right. We're sad we won't see you every day, but I'm happy for you too, and we'll still be able to text and talk and all that stuff. And guess what? There's going to be a podcast just about every Saturday night where we can catch up. So it's perfect, man.
I was gonna say, it's not like we don't get together every Saturday night to shoot the shit. So,
whoa,
well said, Scott.
I see what you said there. Well, Larry, you got to tell the story real quick. I don't know, just because I found hilarious about your son.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, what Ian said?
Yeah.
That's actually pretty funny.
So friend of the podcast, Ian Doge, special guest on episode 61 of the podcast. I told him that Jeremy was moving, and his instant reaction was, right, because we all work together, was, so does that mean I can get a job with you guys because there's going to be an empty desk? I'm like, no, like that's not how that works. You're 10.
I was gonna say, when are you gonna throw in the whole you're a 10-year-old?
Right?
How amazing would that be if you're just sitting there, working, starting your day, drinking your coffee, all of a sudden Ian Doge just rolls in. Like, whoa, what's up?
With the laptop plugs in, like, all right, guys, it's time to do some forecasting. No.
What are you looking at? Let's get to work.
Yeah.
But then I told where Jeremy was going to work, and he no longer wanted to work with us, and he wanted to move to Texas and move with Jeremy. So Dad is old news, and Austin, Texas is sounding pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll go live in Texas. Yeehaw, motherfucker! Like,
that's cool.
Yippee-ki-yay!
Ride 'em Cowboys.
Hey, all I have to say is it's never Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi Tower.
That is valid.
I just watched that.
It's on my list for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's holiday tradition.
Die Hard.
You gotta stick with it.
As for anybody, tradition.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to you guys actually coming out and visiting too. So and coming back here. So we got lots of opportunities.
For sure. I've never been to Texas, so yay for a reason a couch to crash on to go to Texas, man.
There you go. Yeah, one of those cons I might just have to come out there and visit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you guys are more than welcome.
Cool. Well, what else are we talking about this week, guys?
I was gonna say, Larry,
there's been a lot of stuff over the last 2 weeks.
There has been a lot of stuff over the last 2 weeks that go through, but I think the thing I'm most curious about is Larry went to a movie that I think it's on everyone's radar, but I want to hear from you kind of what you thought about it. So what I'm talking about is the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So Larry, come on, drop that review.
Yeah, so real quick, right? We went and saw it last night. If you guys aren't familiar, it's the cartoon that Sony put out that was starring the Miles Morales Spider-Man. So it's the first time Miles Morales has been on screen in any type of movie or anything. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, kind of no spoilers, but the movie was really cool. The art style, which I think we all talked about, like from the trailer, it's even better on the big screen, like full scale. It's just like it's really amazing. It's got like comic book elements to it, right? You got word bubbles and stuff every once in a while, but it's not even the same throughout the whole thing. It just kind of mixes up, like depending on what scene's going on. And the final battle scene, it's just like there's so many colors and so much going on, like in the background and stuff. Just the detail. It's just the story is great, but like visually, it's you got to see it just to see the animation and what a great job Sony did on putting together the Spider-Man movie.
I can't remember what they were going to call it, but I think they did like they're like naming or like establishing like a whole new style of animation based on that, like Sony Pictures, or like they're trademarking or something, because it's so vastly different from what you normally would see in like an animated movie. Yeah,
like the one thing I noticed was even like the characters, the animation on the characters was different depending on who it was. So like Miles Morales is kind of drawn one style, but he's standing next to Spider-Ham, who's drawn like in a different style. Like the Spider-Man Noir, he's a third style. Like they're all on the screen together, right? Normally it would look like the same guy drew it all, but like it's all different. Like they got like the manga Japanese style girl is in there too, and like everyone's just different and unique, and depending on who's on the screen, like not only the character changes but the background changes. It's like they spent so much time just making it visually appealing. Like again, you got to just go see it for that. But like the story wise, like it's got a bunch of villains in it. The story was pretty good. I think they teased a little bit, right? Like a Peter Parker from another universe comes to teach Miles Morales how to be Spider-Man, and he struggles a little bit. But like it's got Spider-Gwen in it. She's pretty awesome. Just a lot of great characters, a lot of great villains. And again, like the first thing I think everyone's going to say when they talk to you about this is just how awesome the art was.
That's cool. I'm so glad to hear that, because I've heard a lot of other people echo the same thing, that it's just visually stunning. And the way that they blended the different art styles, like Larry was talking about, the different style of animation into one movie, it's kind of like unheard of. So I think that's really cool, because you get used to seeing a certain style of a certain Spider-Man, and these different Spider-Man in this movie come from different, like Larry said, manga, comics, video game, something else, and they blend that all together seamlessly. I'm really excited to see it just from that, because of my appreciation for comics and drawing and animation. That alone is really drawing me towards it. And now that hearing that Larry liked it, I'm actually really wanting to go see it.
So you know what movie it just from the clips I've seen and everything, and Jeremy will know this one here. It kind of reminds me if you mixed like a animation with the movie A Scanner Darkly.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It looks like it's kind of a mixture of like the real, like the traced real life mixed with like a animation. So it's like a really cool like in between of the that kind of style.
Now, I'm super, like I said, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. But it's definitely one of those. And normally, I said I'm not one to see like the animated movies like in the theaters, but like I said, this is definitely one that I'm gonna have to see in the theater.
Yeah, and I think because of it's kind of it's pretty epic, and there's so much going on. Where you go watch on your 4K TV once it comes out, but if you get a chance, I think it's definitely worth going to see in the theaters.
Yeah,
so I was gonna say, before we get into things, I know that we normally don't do like a rating unless there's multiple people, but if you were gonna rate this one, Larry, out of 5, STS Guys tradition, what's your rating?
So I'm pretty hard on movies, but it's a 3 out of 5. Like it was good, not great, not perfect, but it was enjoyable. It was good.
If Larry gives it a 3 out of 5, that's like a 4.5, 5 out of 5 for most other people.
It takes a lot to impress Larry.
Yeah.
So let me just ask you this, just so because this movie is kind of out of context compared to some other movies that we've rated before. What about like in terms of like compared to like the Lego Batman movie? I think like
good
type of movie. Like said, what's a
good comparison animated?
Good reference point. Definitely better than Lego Batman. Probably not as good as the Lego movie, but it's up there with those, right? Like I probably enjoyed it more than Incredibles 2, more than Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet. Like it was a good animated movie.
Okay, good.
Well, I think if anything, this makes me excited for what Marvel's going to do next, because as you guys know, I know we've talked about this before, but a lot of the Marvel animated movies haven't done so well or haven't been so great in the past. And to see them kind of change and bring us such a great movie that is animated makes me excited for what they're going to do next.
Yeah. And I think they've already talked about a sequel, like more focused on Spider-Gwen, and I think Silk's supposed to be in it.
Yeah, so. It's Spider-Gwen, Silk, and Spider-Woman.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So yeah, I would love to see more. Just like I said, I haven't even seen the movie, but from kind of the reviews and just what I've seen of that, like I said, of the art, that's what impresses me the most. I would love to see more movies with kind of art done in that way. Yeah, it looks like a what I would expect a comic brought to life would look like.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. That's exactly what it is.
I am super excited to see it. So
I will be taking my daughter.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna head out and go see it.
Where like the old Mario Bros movie from the 90s was supposed to be like a video game brought to life, but they totally messed that up. Spider-Man movie, they nailed taking like comic.
Are you talking about the John Leguizamo as Luigi?
Yeah.
Yes, that one with the Koopa.
At what point was that ever a video game brought to life?
Like the Goombas, like I said, they were
9 feet tall.
Yeah. The Goombas were direct translation. What are you talking about?
Yeah, everything about
exactly
that movie everything about the movie was just wrong. It was a dark version of Mario. It's totally unexpected because they lure you in with, hey, it's Super Mario Brothers. And then you get this dark, twisted tale with these 9-foot Goombas and, a weird Bowser and some fungus thing. That's like a person.
Toad was just like a run-of-the-mill drug addict that gets turned into a Goomba.
Pretty much.
Now I want to go rewatch it.
I kind of want to, dude. That was Bob Hoskins at his best, man.
You're gonna watch the first 15 minutes of that movie and be like, "Why am I doing this?" Even Bob Hoskins has sworn off that movie. He's like, "That was a big mistake."
They said it was the worst movie that any of them have ever done.
Yeah,
that makes me want to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, to say this, when it first came out, I was at the point where like I didn't know how to judge a good quality movie. So like,
but I think even as kids, we're like, this isn't Mario. Just like the Masters of the Universe movie. Like I remember that one more. Like this isn't He-Man. What are you doing?
Don't you talk bad about my Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe.
That thing was horrible.
For anybody who wants a great laugh, look up the Skeletor costume from that movie. Like,
or just watch the guy play Skeletor for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's one of the fun. It's an unintentional comedy. Let's just put it that way. Like I love that movie, but not for the reasons anybody
thinks for the right reasons.
It's still a classic though. Like it's
Come
still
on, Courtney Cox at her prime.
Yeah, it's still it's horribly done, but still a classic. And you had like like the synthesizer, musical key in there. Come on, like so that's like classic.
Did you know they're remaking that, or I mean, not necessarily remaking it, but there's supposed to be a new Masters of the Universe movie coming out, I think next year.
I heard that.
We've talked about like remakes and things like that just need to stop at this point. Like,
yeah,
we've had way too many misses than we've had hits. Like,
I hope like this is the chance to get a Masters of the Universe movie right, though. Like, I hope
they're not going to. They are not going to. Like, you're saying like this is the time to do the right one, but they're not going to.
Yeah, Scott, I do have a retort to that though. So I think it's possible. I really think it's possible they can do it. And what gives me hope is you've had all these shitty Transformers movies, but then you have Bumblebee coming out, which is I guess a complete different direction.
Yeah, because Michael Bay isn't involved.
Like, where it's actually like, hey, you know what? The Decepticons are actually the Decepticons that were from the 80s cartoons. And it's not like they're not like weird. They don't like off tangent.
Yeah, that new trailer looks pretty good.
Yeah, the new trailer looks weird. Like I'm excited to actually see the movie.
I'm fine with that, but then you realize it took what 5? This is movie number what 5, right? In that line, or is it 6?
Wait, 6.
This is 6. It took 6 movies to figure that shit out. I don't want to sit through 5 other Masters of the Universe before they figure that shit out.
I don't think you'll have to. Yeah. I think it'll be good. Like, well, just like look at Captain America. They said they did a Captain America in the early 90s, and that was horrible.
Well, dude, they did it to everybody, but they also fucked up the remake of Fantastic Four from the one in the 90s. And there was one in the 90s for anybody who doubts me. It was awful, and you can find it on YouTube.
Roger Corman, man.
Yeah.
Well, like, the 80s and the early 90s brought a lot of original ideas, and it's sad when you see all these remakes just getting remade and they're not that great. Give us some original ideas.
Yeah. Think of something new, you tool. Like, I don't need a remake or a reboot or the sequel, but for something that's 30 years old where all the original people are super old. So it's like, oh, it's going to be their kids now. Like, no, I don't want that.
Wait a minute.
New idea.
Are you talking about Star Wars?
I wasn't, but goddamn, that fits.
That fits perfectly.
I was kind of thinking about like Vacation, where they did the Ed Helms.
Yeah.
Where he's rusty, and I'm like, that was not good.
Well, even though I just said, don't make reboots. Neil Blomkamp is actually making the new RoboCop movie. He's the guy that did District 9, and I can't remember the other names of the movies he did, but they had done RoboCop. I'm sorry, what?
Chappie?
I am Chappie.
Chappie.
Oh,
yeah, and another one with Matt Damon.
They had done
a RoboCop reboot with Joel Kinnaman, and it was bad. It was really bad. So I'm kind of glad that it went to Neil Blomkamp now, because he seems like he could make maybe a more true to original RoboCop. So I'm pretty excited for that.
You know what else I'm excited for?
Transition us.
Transition. We're on a tangent.
Yeah, I know. We're 25 minutes in and we haven't touched on the main topic yet. So let's talk about how excited we are for Avengers Endgame.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because that trailer dropped like a week ago. But again, we didn't do a podcast last week. So here we are.
So
and it's on fire.
Timesies on this one real quick. So just so that way we have some semblance and some organization. Like I said, let's go through one by one to kind of give a couple main points of what we thought about it and what makes you excited for the movie. So let's go ahead and kick it off with you, Larry, and then we'll just kind of go down the line.
Cool. So, I mean, it looks awesome, right? Like, I don't like if people are like, I'm so excited. Like, the only thing that made me more excited from the last trailer was seeing that date move up from May to April. That was probably my favorite part of the trailer. Is like, oh, that means I get to wait a few weeks less to actually see this thing. So, pretty stoked about that. I think everything else just looks awesome, right? Like, you got Cap, you got Ant-Man. Like, I think Ant-Man was like scene stealer of that trailer, right? That was the pivotal point where like Paul Rudd's outside, like, hey guys, it's me, Scott Lang. You know, Ant-Man, like all the theories around that about if it's really Scott Lang, if it's Loki, like that kind of stuff. That was my two favorite parts of that trailer.
Yeah.
Nate, what about you?
Yeah, I'm definitely really excited for it. We've all been kind of anticipating like what's it going to be called. You know, they've been holding the title backs for so long. Endgame, I think, fits so well because of the Doctor Strange quote, and I think it starts really well because it shows us, you know, Tony stranded in space. We don't know what's going to happen to him. All the Avengers are kind of just beat down. We haven't really seen him this vulnerable before, so I think it's going to be cool to see how they, like, you know, how do they respond to what just happened? How does the story going to unfold? There's so many questions that I want answered about how they're going to make this movie, but it's got me really excited for it because I thought Infinity War was really, really well done, and I'm excited to see how it all kind of pans out.
Yeah, right. We got to find out how the good guys saved the day.
Right. And
how do they win?
I will say one thing that's got me excited is we got to see Hawkeye coming back as Ronan.
Yeah,
and
that was cool too.
I have a theory about how that happens. I don't know if we want to go into that right now, but it's going to be.
Let's get Scott's and mine thoughts first, and then we'll talk about certain points of the trailer.
Yeah, cool. That's a good idea. Yeah, I love the trailer. I hate the fact that the first trailer with everything else is just kind of quick shots of voiceover. Like, I was really hoping to get a real trailer. You know, at this point, we're not that far out. Like, I don't want the little teaser of like, Tony, I'm in space, I need rescue, and then it's like, what are we gonna do? Is it gonna work? I don't know. And then, hey, I'm Ant-Man. Like, that was the trailer. I really wish it had a little bit more. Like, it was cool to have a teaser for some of the other ones that we that's not a two-parter, but I don't need a teaser for a movie I've been waiting a year for, right? Like I wanted a little bit more. I wanted obviously they can't tell us what's going to happen with like undoing the snap, right? Like, it's going to be super secretive, and I don't think we're going to get a lot in the trailers. But I kind of wanted a little bit more from it. And to be the negative guy in this, please God, I know everyone's talking about it, the whole thing. Please don't be time travel. Like, please don't have that be the thing that saves the day. Please don't have time travel.
It's probably time travel.
It might be, but before we get into it, what do you think, Jeremy?
All right, so I really like the trailer. Like I said, so I know Scott wanted more. Like I said, I thought it was the perfect amount because like I said, this is the culmination of 10 years of this journey that has been like basically leading to this point. And it's because normally I don't really care about spoilers, but I said it's kind of like when, like I said, we were all talking before in regards to I don't want these trailers. Some of these trailers just spoil too much of the movie, and I think they've really done a good job with these Infinity War trailers. And so with Infinity War itself, now with Endgame, they're just like giving you basically pieces to get excited about, and basically bringing you kind of some emotion to where your characters are at now, without really spoiling a whole bunch of aspects of it.
Yeah,
so kind of a couple of favorite parts of the trailer for me, where it just some of the different foreshadowings and some of the different things that are in there. And I said I've watched a whole bunch of different people's opinions of those. I'm like, you know what, that actually makes perfect sense. So like, for example, like with Tony, like I said, just alone in space. Like I said, it's just bringing almost like an end to that character. Like I said, you know, that's not how it's gonna end. But like I said, it's just that emotion that's there. I said, kind of to your point, Nate, with Ronan kind of showing up and just kind of how, like I said, that you could just, he didn't even say anything, but you could actually just see on his face. Like I said, just some of the different anguish that guy's been through.
Well, and he's cleaning his blade. You know, he's cleaning the blood off his blade. You know,
you know what, he was ready to kick some ass and take some names. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he's gone dark.
And then it's just the culmination, like I said, at the very end. I said with the whole Scott Lang thing. But then at the very end, and this is what I said, a lot of people have been kind of drawn this conclusion. I'm like, you know what, that makes perfect sense. So the title reveal, the title screen reveal, it's, you know, it's almost like, hey, you know, it's the dust, but it's then coming back together in the form of the Avengers logo, and then like I said, the Endgame. But if you notice, like the Avengers logo is all broken. It's not the same as it, you know, the traditional. It's not all back together in one part. It's broken. So it just kind of, it gives you, like, that little bit of foreshadowing of, like, you know what, hey, you know what, we're going to see some of these heroes come back, but things still aren't going to be the same that there were.
Yeah. Well, I like. Somebody else pointed out to your point too, Jeremy. There's another thing in that logo is it starts off purple, and then as everything, which, you know, kind of like Thanos, right? And then as everything starts to come back together, the purple fades, and you actually have that Avengers logo be the prominent thing that's in the screen.
Yeah, and then my one little thing that I liked, like I said, my favorite thing about the whole trailer, like I said, it's so cheesy. It's because they stuck a comic book moment movie. So they stuck a comic book moment in the movie, which was the Thanos Scarecrow. I'm like,
oh yeah,
that's stole directly from a panel of the comics.
Where he puts his armor up on the little Scarecrow. Yeah, that was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I have a question. I haven't looked this up, so this is a legit question. The title, Endgame, is that an actual Marvel Comics reference, or are they just talking about the Taylor Swift song?
It's the Taylor Swift song, of course.
Absolutely. It must be the Taylor Swift song.
Yeah. Who would name a movie after a Taylor Swift song? Are you an idiot?
Well, you know I would, so I'm on board.
I'm fairly certain that is not the title of a comic. I'm pretty sure,
as far as I know,
off of the Doctor Strange. This is the Endgame.
I haven't heard anything about it.
I think it's all about the one line of Doctor Strange in the movie.
Yep.
Which is one of the first times that they haven't used like a direct comic title, or, you know, at least close enough tie-in.
Well, and the funny thing about the title is, so like, so this title actually leaked, like I said, a long time ago, and the Russo brothers were actually questioned about it because it was on some production crew member's resume about basically like different films that he worked on, and so it basically said, like, it was a screen capture that said Avengers Endgame, and like I said, that was quickly redacted, and then, like I said, and put to something else. But then when the Russo brothers were questioned about it, they said, no, it's not Endgame. So, but the funny thing is, I said, we've kind of like known this title for the longest time because, like I said, it leaked a long time ago. But I said it's nice to finally have the actual title.
You know, well, because what the other thing that they did that was really smart about that is right after the leak, they had like a press event where they showed like some kind of digital effects shots talking about the movie, and they called it something different, but signed all of those people onto a like a NDA, but they called it like it was Avengers and something that started with A, so everyone was like, it's Avengers Annihilation or something like that. But it was all a way to like cover up that Endgame was the title. It was pretty smart of them to do.
I have kind of a theory as well about the Endgame. Like, one thing, you know, when Thanos when he snapped his fingers getting all the Infinity Stones, he had to sacrifice, you know, there was consequences to his actions. So I think we're going to see the same kind of thing with the Avengers. In order for them to restore or return the balance, there's probably going to be some consequences, or something horrible is going to happen for them to be able to get there. So I think that might be playing into the Endgame too. because I know there's been talks about what's going to happen with Robert Downey Jr., what's going to happen with Chris Evans. Their contracts are coming to an end.
They will just re-up.
They could just re-up, or I know Chris Evans has said multiple times, like, I'm not making these movies anymore. He
said that, but just renewed his contract. So,
I didn't realize he renewed.
He did. Yeah,
he renewed. Disney showered him with money, and he said, "Okay."
Well, I still feel like we're not going to get all the Avengers back.
Still, who knows? Who knows? And maybe that was even like a ploy that they leak something like, "Oh, Chris Evans resigned." You never know. Like they're sneaky at this point.
Yeah.
You can't trust anybody. It's like the X-Files.
So one thing I think we should talk about is that reveal. Like I said, it was like the big hubbub of Infinity War where there was no Hawkeye. And I said, very prominent in this trailer is that, hey, you know what? We get Hawkeye back, but not the traditional Hawkeye we're used to seeing. We basically get Hawkeye in his Ronin form. And kind of like I was saying, this is you can tell that something happened to this guy because, like I said, just the look on his face is just like the look of anguish and look of like, you know what, I'm pissed off and I just want to like murder everybody. So what did you guys think about that reveal?
Well, I remember talking about Hawkeye when we had that discussion before Infinity War Part 1 came out, and you guys we went around and picked who everybody thought was going to die, and you guys all picked Hawkeye.
We all said Hawkeye.
Except for this guy who picked Scarlet Witch and totally won that bet. So that's all I remember.
You got to rub that in every time we talk about this shit, right?
Every time.
I was wondering if he was going to bring this up.
Yeah. We're talking about Avengers. Yeah, he's going to bring it up.
So I think I'm going to give my theory. And I think it's, he wasn't with the Avengers before because he wanted to be with his family and protect his family. The only thing that can get him out of that is something that happens to his family. I think the Thanos snap got rid of his family. So
I agree.
Seems likely.
I don't think there's a question on that at this point. Like, what else would make him go into a murderous rage?
Right. Yeah.
Is his family leaving, and no one really, like, outside of the Avengers, no one really knows why all these people just dusted, right? Like,
I don't know.
All these people just disappeared. Like, no one really knew about in the secret country in Africa, this big purple dude snapped his fingers and killed everyone. Like, they're just like walking down the street and poof, Timmy turned to ash.
I wish the Blu-ray would have like a special featurette where it's like how CNN reported everybody getting dusted. Yeah, like you missed that part. Like, how does the rest of the world see this? We've got like the behind the scenes look. We know what's going on. Like you said, just like, Black Widow and Tony Stark know. But what does the rest of the world think when your mom and sister just disappeared? Like,
just like eating Sunday dinner, and they're like, "Oh shit, Grandpa just dissolved."
Yeah,
like, yeah,
I'd love to see like just kind of a spoofy, goofy like Fox News thing about what happened. Why
that
did
would be awesome.
So I don't know if you remember this, but around the time that Thor Ragnarok came out, they had that whole thing where he had his roommate like Jeff or whatever that he used to live with. Yeah. So they did a video about what's happened to him since the snap. And he's like, yeah, I'm still here, but like I have to pull double shifts at work since.
See, that's awesome.
Like this whole thing. Like, if you get a chance, go check it out. It's actually pretty funny. But it is a good, like, decent look at like what's happened now. And it's good.
No,
I like
it. To your point though, I think that's right about Ronin, Hawkeye. I think his family is off. But here's the thing. Here's my only question about it. I said I think that's the obvious answer, and I think there's basically a slim chance as well. And I was talking to Scott about this the other day. It's because I know Scott doesn't want the whole time travel thing.
I don't, and we'll get into why.
And we'll get into why here in a second.
Okay, yeah. Let me tell you why.
Let me finish.
Yeah, finish your thing, and then we'll go.
So I said my only other thing is in regards to that Ronin reveal is that's an alternative timeline of where we're seeing Hawkeye. Just because if you look at that entire trailer, there's differences in regards to people. Like I said, his haircut's different and everything else like that. Like I said, he looks more like badass. Well, then you also have Cap back in his Winter Soldier outfit too, clean shaven and everything else like that. Like I said, it's he's full on winter. He's a full on Winter Soldier outfit.
That's true.
So I'm wondering instead if, and they've done this before. Like I said, if the dialogue that goes with those scenes is actually the dialogue. So for example, like I said, they're quick cuts too. So basically, when Black Widow is saying, hey, Thanos wiped out 50% of the people, you're not looking at Captain America in that same. They said they basically flash back to Captain America, which could be a separate scene.
Well, I honestly think when he says like, "Is this old footage or whatever?" and then it pans to Ant-Man, I almost would bet money that they're not looking at the same thing. Like I think that's the deception, is that they're not looking at the Ant-Man film. They're looking at something different.
Yeah, or like I said, it's stuff that was specifically filmed for the trailer, which they did for Infinity War.
Yeah,
or things that they changed for the trailer that didn't actually happen in the actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Scott, let's get into your time travel.
Why Scott doesn't like time travel? Because here's the thing: time travel is great for this movie, right? Like one movie, it's great. But once you establish this large scale of a time travel thing, you really why do you have any future movies? Because the whole idea is like, oh, look, this bad guy was created. Let's go back in time and stop it from happening. If you can time travel however you want or anything like that, it's gonna cheapen. There's no threat anymore. Because even if no matter what happens with the bad guy, you always have an opportunity to go back and reverse it. So I think it really kills the idea of do I really give a shit about Mysterio anymore? What's he going to do that we can't go back in time to fix, and we can just arrest his ass or stop him beforehand? And yeah, I get it. It gets into the idea of the whole Civil War Part 2 that they just went over with the whole precognition thing, but it just cheapens that experience for any continuing forward, that if people can go back in time, nothing matters. Nothing anymore really has any weight.
Well, are there gonna be repercussions in the Flash? Right, CW Flash, every time somebody goes back in time, it messes up the timeline, and then all this bad stuff happens when Barry gets back to the present.
Even so, if they go back in time, I think that the ability to stop something from happening, if you have that ability, why wouldn't you use it, right? In future things. So I just don't want it to be time travel, because of the fact that I want there to be future movies in the universe that, the resolution isn't always well, you could always have just gone back in time and fixed it because you did it once. Why not do it again? Yeah. So, I would prefer multiverse. If they go back and say all right, we need Hawkeye, he dead, but there's a Hawkeye in this other universe and we figured out how to get to it. Let's get that version of him, and let's go to this universe and get that version of this person, and bring in the multiverse thing, and then reassemble the Avengers with different alternate versions of people that we know. That would be amazing.
So I think this is going to present an interesting thing. So what if this time travel works one way, and basically one way and one way only? And I think that I said you can set it up like that to basically where it's, what, hey, we've done this, but now at this point in time, it's not possible anymore. So, for example, if you go back in time, you make that change,
you're stuck there,
where it basically makes time travel impossible in future instances.
Yeah, but then again, that's just a writer's convenience. That's not that's a stupid way to try to. Well, you can only go backwards in time.
So, and really? the only reason I said I don't mind the idea of time travel. I said it's a way to basically change some things. It's a way to change things around to make it to continue on the story. And I said in comic books, I said the characters don't age. Like I said, you have basically unaging characters. So Superman, created in 1939, it's still, he's not old man Superman today. He's Superman.
He's still like he's maintained a cool 35 years old.
Yeah, it's so you have so that's what the difference is in between comics and in the movies. Where I think you can, if you effectively use time travel in the movies, it's a way to basically get rid of some of your aging actors to bring in also the new actors, basically to kind of take up the mantles that they previously held. Right. And I think that's it's a way to do it. And other than like I said, kind of to your point, I said when you were talking about like I said a multiverse. I said you could do that, but that also then seems like an easy out. Like, oh, you know what? Just hey, kill a guy. Hey, you know what? I can just go to another place and get someone else to replace.
Right, you can get somebody else to replace it, but at least this time you could be like, it is not the same character. Like it's the same actor because it's the same thing, but their life experiences were different, and that person can come in and play the character completely different.
Well, yeah, and I read the Infinity Gauntlet graphic novel, and in that they do time travel to, defeat Thanos. They kind of restart and figure out what they did wrong, and then they go back and they do it a different way to try to prevent Thanos from being as strong as he was. So I think... Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, you go.
I think it's definitely possible to have time travel. I hear what Scott's saying. Sometimes it's a little too convenient. Like, why build this whole universe if you're just going to be able to go back and kind of say, okay, I'm going to change this and I'm going to change that. I hope it's not to that extreme. I think to Jeremy's point, there are going to be some consequences from doing this. And I think that's why, like I said earlier, there's going to be some kind of consequence for them to be able to have the power to go back.
What if one of those consequences is they created Dr. Doom?
Ooh, there you go. Fantastic Four tie-in.
Yeah. They're messing with the timeline has created mutations in humans, and now we have mutants. Oh, look, X-Men are here.
Like that's kind of where I was going before when I said that, if they go back in time to stop Thanos and then things might happen. Like that could be the setup, be like, oh, look, there's these mutants now. Hey, that was convenient.
Who are these people? They were different.
Talk about a killer introduction to Phase 5, though.
Yeah, it would be pretty epic, right? Like you wrap it up an awesome movie, then just with like a couple mutants like hanging out, right? Like Nightcrawler pops across the screen or something. That would just blow everybody's mind.
That'd be crazy. Yeah. Because I think that's what everybody really wants too. Now that deal's almost, pretty much finalized, like we want to see how they're going to use those new properties into this universe.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to do it, and so I have a theory about how that's going to happen too, in regards to.
Is it the scrolls?
No,
it's the scrolls.
No, not the.
Jeremy and I are giving up on that at this
Annihilation.
point.
That's the next. That's the next. Like I said, that is the next phase. I guarantee you, that's the next phase.
They're back.
Well, they are being introduced at the end of this phase. So.
They messed up in 1995, so they're trying to get in 2020.
Episode 63. Mark it right here. I said that is the next big phase. But as far as like introducing mutants, I think it's the destruction of the Infinity Stones that basically causes mutation. That's my theory.
Like I get scared when I start making expectations on these movies because then I end up disappointed. But that would be so awesome. I don't care how they do it. It would just be so awesome if at the end or an after credit scene or something, there's some type of mutant.
Yeah, the release of all the energy just created some type of change within the universe, and now mutants are starting to form.
Yeah. You show somebody who you don't have to have a main actor, like somebody who wears a mask or something. Just show somebody. That would be so cool.
Just show like Bobby Drake like grabbing a glass of water and it freezes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
right.
Like some kid, right? Yeah,
some little kid just grabs a glass of water and it freezes.
Yeah, perfect.
That would be cool.
The other thing too, I did find interesting. I don't know if anybody noticed this. Kind of around the same scene Jeremy was talking about, the Scarecrow scene. It does make it seem like there are those consequences because you have anyone else notice like Thanos was like limping and like walking like he was like had some
busted.
He was busted after channeling the Infinity Stones through himself.
Yeah, we got a little glimpse of that right at the end of Infinity War. It shows that his hand is messed up.
Yeah.
He's injured from what happened. So
yeah, it had his messed up head, but this one it looked like he was like limping, through the as he's walking kind of through. I guess it's this house, his shanty. I don't know what he's really It looks like he's living in like a airplane fuselage, apparently. But it shows him kind of like limping through it. And I was like, that's interesting that, you know, maybe they're gonna find him, and he turns out like, yeah, he's not really a threat anymore. Like, he lost a lot in achieving his goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll be interesting. I mean, this trailer, if anything, for as long as you can tell, we've been talking about it. It created a lot of hype and things that we want to see, things that we hope to see. You know, I'm really excited for it. So April can't come soon enough. So one thing I wanted to ask, and this is tying into the next trailer that we want to talk about. Tony's in space. He's drifting out there by himself. He has no power.
Chilling on the Benatar.
Yeah, he's just kind of chilling, you know, waiting for death. What if, by marvelous interaction, Captain Marvel comes and saves him?
I think that's the route everyone's going to go. But here's the thing: is where the hell is Nebula? Right, she was with him at the end, and it clearly shows in some of those scenes on the trailer. She was on the Benatar with him. So where the hell is she in that whole thing? Like, I really think that narration doesn't go with what we saw.
So, you mean like the part where he's talking to Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yeah, like I think that he records the message, but I think it's a different part of the movie than we think. I don't think it's at the very beginning. Like, I think it's farther in, and some shit's gonna go down that causes him to be lost out there.
Yeah,
that could be him.
Yeah. And like I said, as much as I want Captain Marvel to rescue him, I think it's a way. I said I know it's everyone's theory. I'm like I don't mean to want to jump on a bandwagon, but I'm like, it makes sense. It makes sense. Is the rescue armor that Pepper Potts has?
Yeah, well, like it shows her with the rescue armor. Yeah, so maybe she uses that to go out to space. It clearly shows that his suits can withstand space in this one.
And Clint Crockett brings up a good point. How much time has passed between movies? So yeah, Captain Marvel's way in the past, before the events of any of these Marvel movies. So where has she been this whole time? And then maybe, is Tony close to where she's at? Like, how does she? Maybe that's how.
Well, and the question I have is did they make this Titan? In this one, it is a separate planet, right?
Too.
So it's not like the comics where it's actually Titan, the moon of, was that Saturn or Jupiter? Because in the comics, they're not that far away from Earth. Like, Titan is the moon Titan. It's not like a separate planet.
Oh yeah, no, it's. Oh, I thought you were talking about one Thanos is on right now. No, it's Titan the moon. Yeah,
yeah. Like, if that's the whole thing, like. So if he's on Titan, he's not that far from Earth as people think. Like, if it's not like it's out in like a separate universe. To bring him to Titan is within our own solar system still.
Yeah, just a couple parsecs away.
Yeah, but I don't even think, to be honest, dude.
Maybe 12.
I don't even think it's a parsec.
Maybe 12.
Clint brings up a good point though. How much time do you guys think has passed in between the events of the movies?
You mean like Infinity War 1 and Endgame?
Do you want to know? Do you want to know my theory is? I think that we're going to get a time jump. So there's going to be a significant portion of that movie is going to be immediately after, or shortly after, and then we're going to get like a time jump while they figure out a plan and try to implement it. I think we're going to get the time jump there.
Yeah, I don't know. Clint asked a good question. I hadn't thought about that yet. I almost feel like it's going to be almost instantaneous, right? Like everybody disappeared and they're like, what's going on? And then maybe a little bit of a time jump where they regroup. But I almost feel like it's kind of got to be a seamless thing without a whole lot of gap, especially like Tony's still alive in space. Like if it was a year down the road, he'd be dead.
Yeah. And I think that people are like, oh, like we're gonna have like a new version of Cassie and everything that's an older actor. I think like as you said, I think a significant portion of that movie is going to be right after, and then we may get a time jump at the end to be like, all right, here's how long it's been. Like, here's what some of these characters are up to in the future or whatever. But I don't think we're gonna get like a huge time jump right off the bat.
Remember, like one thing that I think is still possible that we said on, I don't know, we talk about Marvel so much on some future podcast or past podcast. Remember we talked about like if Ant-Man's going to time travel and he can go back in the future, like maybe when he's trying to figure out how to work it, he jumps forward in the future too. And maybe that's when he sees grown up Cassie and stuff. Like maybe those things still happen, but it's just like just a quick scene where he's bouncing all over the place and
trying
like,
to figure out.
Yeah, right. You see parts of the future, but it's not like a full on scene where he's there doing a whole lot. It's just that he's just bouncing back and forth between years.
I think that's a great point because they showed that Ant-Man was in the movie. I know we have theories about like, was that footage or was that actually him? But he got out of the quantum realm if that's true. And maybe to Larry's point, while he's trying to figure that out, he's going back and forward in time and he's realizing like, oh, wait, this is not only between space, this is between time.
Yeah. I still really like that idea. I don't remember who said it. I don't think it was me, but great idea, STS guys.
Yeah, it was when we were talking about Captain Marvel because we all said that we wanted him just to pop in to be what year is it? And like 1995 is like, I gotta go. Like,
I still love that too because that would be
amazing. That would be awesome.
That would be good. He's like, is it 2005? No. Okay, bye.
Yeah, that would be so cool. So real quick, I know we're getting to the end here, but I did want to get your guys' thoughts on the Captain Marvel trailer, the second one. Overall, are you guys excited about it? It's kind of interesting how close it's releasing to Endgame. They're going to be really close together. Yeah. And that might be because Captain Marvel reveals something that's important to Endgame. I think that might be why they're so close.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah,
probably. And, yeah. So they figured they could bump it up. Yeah. So they did.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going to end it on a cliffhanger and you're gonna be like, oh, and then it's gonna go right into Endgame.
All I have to say about that Endgame 2 or not Endgame 2, I can't even talk. Captain Marvel. I don't even know where the 2 came from.
Endgame 2.
Yeah, I don't know the 2. I'm gonna be off on it. So the Captain Marvel trailer number 2. That's why.
There you go.
Trailer 2. I think the coolest part about that whole thing is you actually get to see Captain Marvel in the whole binary mode where she's basically a Super Saiyan, right? Like the hair going up and stuff. Like I was curious how they were going to handle like the fact that, as she channels more of the Nova energy or the Nova Star energy or whatever it is. Yeah. What kind of like, are they going to show that or are they just going to be like, she can make blasts out of her hands and stuff but no, they go full on binary, which is amazing.
I really hope they explain her power because I don't know a whole lot about her, but just from watching her in the trailer, she seems really powerful. So I'll be interested to see how
they have to, right? That's why they're doing this one now because she's going to play an important part in Endgame, kind of like how the Doctor Strange movie, right, set up a lot about who he was. Yeah. How that time stone was going to work and the different things it could do. That way, when it got to Infinity War, we were ready. Same with Black Panther, right? It set up kind of that world. That way, when Infinity War was there, so yeah, that's definitely why Captain Marvel is happening when it is. As far as the trailer goes, though, like I'm no more excited after seeing the second one. Like it didn't do that much for me. It was pretty similar to the first. Like it showed a little bit more of extended scene where she punches the old lady in the face and that kind of stuff. But
I just
still want to see it. But man,
I want to see her kick the shit out of old people just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, right. She runs to the senior citizen home. She's like pow pow pow.
Yeah, like I don't know. One of y'all's a scroll. I'm gonna kick the shit out of every single one of you until it happens.
See, I liked the first trailer way better. Like I said, the second trailer, I'm like, whatever.
So yeah, I wish they took some of the scenes from the second one because there's bits and pieces that I liked from the second one that if you would have just thrown it in the first, it would be amazing.
Yeah, like that whole opening scene with the first one with her falling into Blockbuster, like that right there, like so that first five seconds of the trailer, that's a genius trailer. That's genius.
Yeah,
right there. Like
so, the other thing,
it automatically places you in the past, and like I said, it automatically sets the timeline by her crashing into a Blockbuster.
Yeah, so
you don't have to put 1993 in quotes at the bottom.
No,
or this
we know it's before
exactly where she is. Yeah,
it has to be before 97. Like I know that, because that is the last time I went to Blockbuster.
It was a genius way to do it. So I think that's why I appreciate that trailer so much. This is the second trailer. I'm like, it was just more show off of her powers. Like, whatever. I'll see more of that in the movie.
Now, Jeremy, I know that you, as a comic book fan like myself, would like this. What did you think about when she puts on like does the helmet?
See,
has the old. They did a good, kind of. They have multiple versions, comic iterations of her that kind of boiled into one version.
Yeah, which I liked. I like that you don't. They actually use kind of like the flame mohawk instead of like the hair.
That's a cool. That's a cool look. So
which are Captain Marvel's been around for a while and has had multiple kind of versions of her costume. I think it's really cool that they looked at all those different versions. Like, all right, without the helmet, we're gonna have her look like the more common run. But recently, she's had this really awesome like mohawk version thing. Like, hey, when she puts on her space helmet, like let's have that mohawk show back up with like the kind of the flames at the tip or whatever. Like, I thought that was a really cool touch. It's not anything. It was just that one scene, and again, you could have put it in the other trailers, but it was the visuals, I think, of some of the stuff I think worked way better in the second one. But the trailer overall was not as good.
Scott, you bring up a good point though. And this is the point just overall with this whole Marvel Cinematic Universe that I just want to make. Like, it amazes me of how well I said. These people don't get enough credit. Is the costume designers just even like the non CG costumes like. They make all these costumes look really believable. Like minus first Avengers Captain America, that one.
Well, they tried to go like the comics said he has this thing, and they're like, oh, that doesn't actually work.
Yeah, and it was in the past too, so that's the only kind of saving grace.
The first Avengers is they tried to be like, what would Captain America wear in the modern day? And you're like, that's what you picked.
Yeah, that was amazing.
They're going to get some credit, though, because aren't they going to win like an Oscar or a Golden Globe or something for Black Panther?
Yeah,
I think so.
If they haven't already won awards, they're definitely got some coming.
They make all these costumes look so believable, like they could exist in the real life. Yeah. Like it's.
Well, Jeremy, you bring up the Winter Soldier outfit, which I think is the best Captain America outfit we've had so far.
Absolutely.
That stealth suit that he has is. You could see an actual soldier wearing that. Like that. It looks good for the films, but it looks functional.
I thought you were going to stand up and show us your Captain.
Me too. I'm like, where's Scott going?
Yeah.
Is he wearing a shirt under his shirt?
I totally agree, though, man. The Marvel costumes are always just spot on for me. I'm always excited for the new movies just to see how the characters look in it, because I know some of my favorites, like Iron Man, for instance, he's always looked just so badass, and he gets a new armor.
Even Ant-Man, that motorcycle suit thing, like they're all awesome.
The Wasp costume was good. I think Captain Marvel looks awesome in her costume, in both too, because they have the classic and they have the red, white, and blue one.
Well, think about like Hawkeye, right? Does anybody really want the big purple outfit with the big like wings coming off his eyes like they have in the comics? Like, like they did a really good job about taking different people's interpretations of what like a real person's costume for that would look like and bringing that in. Like the Hawkeye in Age of Ultron looks really good for a normal kind of, it's got to be that average normal guy who can shoot a bow and arrow really good, would be. But like they took a lot of cartoony stuff and made really good looking real life versions of some of those costumes.
I agree.
In an example where they didn't do a good job I'm thinking Sony with the Spider-Man villains in Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, like the Lizard and Electro. Yep. Like they tried to modernize those ones and it didn't work out so good. So yeah, you're right, dude. High five to MCU and Kevin Feige and stuff for coming up with a way to make cool costumes that are kind of realistic.
Yeah. And the same thing with DC, like the Justice League costumes, I didn't like a lot of them. I thought they went too far with some ideas. I think if anything, Wonder Woman was probably looked the best, and maybe Superman. But
not to say, we've met this guy before. He's actually really, really cool. But let's give some shout out to Andy Park, who's done a lot of the concept art and stuff for some of the characters for the Marvel movies.
He's always at cons too.
Yeah, he's always at cons. His artwork and stuff, but he's done a lot of the concept art, which has really been what's brought those modern versions of the people together. So Shout out to Andy Park. I know he's never going to listen to this, but we'll give that shout out nonetheless.
Is he going to be at Ace Comic Con this year? I don't think he is. At least not yet.
Not yet. I haven't seen a lot of the creators.
Yeah, I looked the other day. I don't remember seeing him, but that doesn't mean it hasn't been updated. If you don't know what I'm talking about how Ace Comic Con's returning to Glendale, Arizona on January 11th.
I'm really excited about that.
We are going to be covering the con. We're going to be covering the con. I can't wait to go.
Yeah, we'll be there with Kristen Ritter, Charlie Cox, Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, Charlie Cox.
WWE superstars, Becky Lynch.
Cosplayer Steffi Monster, right?
Yeah.
Friend of the podcast, Steffi Monster is a featured cosplayer along with Alina Masquerade.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
All right. One other shout out I want to get right now. It's like, so have you guys, finished all your Christmas shopping yet?
No, not really.
I'm gonna, you know what, Larry? I'm gonna hook you up right now.
I need some help, man. There's 10 days from today.
10 days. So you know what I like shopping for is pops, right? Obviously, because like I said I just packed up like 400 of them.
Right. All my family gets pops whether or not they want them. So
yeah, that's a go-to. That's a go-to gift.
That is a go-to gift. You can get anybody a pop.
So did you know? Like I said, there's this awesome store. I said you can order your pops online. They ship them in pop protectors. I'm talking about Shumi Store.
Yeah, I was gonna say, tell me more, Jeremy. Do they allow you to pre-order some pops?
Yeah, you can pre-order pops. They said the nice thing about this, so for example, if you order like a pop from Amazon or something else like that, they just throw it in a box and then it'll put like one of those bubbles on there and said at half the time it's wrecked. How would you like a pop? Ordering it probably the same price, and it's also shipped in a 5mm pop protector. Like, how awesome would that be?
As a collector, that is definitely expected. I mean, like to your point, I don't buy collector's stuff off Amazon because it's not packed well. So when you see a place that knows how to pack well, it's like my go-to place.
Yeah. So if that's what you want to do, head over to shumistore.com. Use code STS Guys when you check out, and you'll save yourself 10% on all your pops and pre-orders.
What?
Nice.
That is awesome. There's a link already in the notes. Not that Shumi Store is hard to remember, but all the details are there. You can save 10% off on tons of great pops, including the new Lion King set that they just announced this week, Romeo and Juliet with that Leonardo DiCaprio chase. You want more Leo? You want more Leo? Shumi has the Titanic pop pre-orders up to great price. You get both of those, right? Rose and Jack.
Is it young?
$16.
Is it young Rose or old Rose? Or paint me like a French girl Rose?
I haven't seen the movie, but it looks like young Rose to me.
I'm there for the Titanic pops. All right.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Is there a car with a little handprint on one window?
A pop ride.
Yeah. So like we said, use code STS Guys for 10% off your order at shumistore.com. They got all kinds of pops. If you want a pop, you could find it there.
Yeah, so it's like I said, the hugest benefit. I said you're not spending any more than you are, like I said, spending at Amazon, but you're guaranteed it. He said being in mint condition because what they're doing is they're not only shipping it to you fast, but so they're also shipping it in a pop protector. So it's like basically instead of buying a pop protectors after and putting your pops in there afterwards, save yourself the time. Just order it directly from Shumi instead of it already ships in a pop protector.
And they're like Shumi's pop protectors are awesome too. Like I've bought some. Me and Jeremy both have some that it's the only pop protector I'm going to use now because they're thicker and they're just really good quality. I've used some other people before, but Shumi is the way to go. You can use that code STS Guys to save money on pop protectors too if you just want to pick them up. He's got bundles of like 25 or 50. No matter how many you need, you can get them at shumistore.com.
Sweet.
Oh, and it helps us out if you use our code. So STS Guys, please. Thank you.
Use code STS Guys. I said, you save money, we get money. It's all good.
And you know that all the money we get goes back into giveaways and stuff. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. So the more you buy, the more stuff we have to give away.
Yep. We're still working on that next giveaway too, guys. We got some ideas, but clearly, like, we're having life changes happen right now. So we might have to pause until January, but there will be another giveaway soon.
Yes, there will be. Like I said, I'm finding some stuff to give away.
But yeah, that too, man. Yeah. Who knows what Jeremy's gonna find? We should do a super mega Jeremy moving sale giveaway.
Jeremy yard sale giveaway.
Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? Like I said, let me see. Do I have it? Oh, here. One second. Like I'm pulling out.
Wait, I have to ask. In what you just said, were there words in that?
I'm pulling out such great items as the iPhone 4.
Whoa!
You mean once you can have the iPhone that Jeremy once used?
And other such great items as
Hopefully that phone's been wiped.
It has. The selfie stick.
Ooh, selfie stick. Are those still a thing?
Maybe.
These are the old branded selfie sticks from where me and Scott used to work.
Yeah. Oh,
you heard it here, guys.
We have a ton
One
of them.
random item from Jeremy's moving might end up in our next giveaway.
I don't think "might" is the word. I think is going to.
Yeah.
It might be heavily consisted of items Jeremy no longer wants.
You know what we like on this channel? We like mystery boxes.
Ooh, we do.
Ooh, yes.
How about the giveaway is a mystery box?
That's pretty awesome. I
But
like
the
that
problem
idea.
is we have several videos warning people against mystery boxes.
This is an STS Guys mystery box.
This is an STS Guys mystery box. This mystery box will be worth it.
So you're gonna get crap, but at least it's gonna be funny.
You guys aren't getting my naked Barbie.
Dude, first off, you can't give that to anybody.
She's all mine.
Even though we have negative things to say about mystery boxes, we can never forget that they gave us naked Barbie.
Naked Barbie.
And
I have a bunch of Tyler Perry movies because of it.
It's true. You did get quite the DVD haul.
I did get a good DVD haul.
There's some good stuff in there.
And a shit ton of shot glasses.
Yeah.
You like Tyler Perry and naked Barbie. Said, you know what? We'll
drinking.
A nice mystery box for you.
You know what I just noticed? Jeremy's wearing a hat.
Jeremy is wearing a hat.
He wears lots of hats.
I wear lots of hats in kind of. I have this one. I have a red one. I have a cowboy hat that I'm gonna have to get for my.
After you're moving and go, yeehaw!
Giddy up!
Howdy, y'all! This is the STS Guys.
I wear a lot of hats. I wear a lot of hats around here. So
I wear a lot of hats.
A lot of hats.
So many
hats. So many hats.
All right, guys. I think that does it for the night.
Yay! Good episode, guys. Oh, if this is the first STS Guys podcast, video, anything you're listening to, go ahead and hit us up on Instagram at STS Guys. Then you can follow us on Twitter at STS Guys. And then, who doesn't love Facebook? Head over to the STS Guys and give us a follow there too. I'm Larry from the STS Guys.
Use code STS Guys at shumistore.com. Save yourself 10%.
Or you can use your code STS Guys at shop.friskybritches.com. You can also save yourself 10%.
Yep.
Shop for your lady and get her some nice panties.
Yep. New panties every month, man.
All right. So
you guys want
to drop us that like on Facebook because we're all about that Facebook.
And if you guys want STS Guys gear, like a sweatshirt or a t-shirt, you can get STS Guys gear at stsguys.com. Go to our store. You can purchase it there. They're pretty awesome.
Straight through Amazon.
Or you can go straight through Amazon and search the STS Guys.
Yeah, if you have
our products will show up.
Yeah, they do qualify for Prime, so you can get that STS Guys t-shirt tomorrow, probably.
And if you guys want to start your own website, you can buy a domain at GoDaddy.com.
All right.
We're just doing
you are trying.
We're just naming all the places right now.
I think we did maybe a little overboard.
Just a tad.
A scotch.
Ignore all the rest of that besides liking us on Facebook and going to shumistore.com.
And buying stuff on Amazon.
Well, I mean, if you need some panties, shopfriskybritches.com is a good place to get panties too.
It just keeps going.
All right. So for episode 63 of the STS Guys, I've been Jeremy.
Hey, it's Larry.
It's been Nate.
And seriously, guys, those panties are really great. It's Scott.
We're the STS Guys. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.